very immature when I'm joking with friends.
Do you
but
just mutter she's a whore under your breath?
all the time,
Out of
just,
context.
Yeah, not even thinking about anything. But no, I think that you need to know all the people that, like, if you're gonna say this in a public place, there's gonna be a problem. Like, you can't just say that kind of thing and think, oh, nobody's gonna have a problem with that. It's inappropriate. So people need to know you closely if you're gonna talk like that, and they need to know really who you are. And it was definitely inappropriate. I just don't know what would happen if you report it. And I would say, if you can get in a group and talk to him, and if he can understand, then it can solve. Like, he'll learn, hopefully, okay, I shouldn't say that kind of thing. I slipped up, or like, I messed up. There's a possibility that you can do it without reporting it. But if you feel like that's not going to work, I mean, it's kind of your decision, and whether or not you think that he's going to learn.
It'd be nice to even go with a couple of girls and a couple of boys and have all of you just say, we all found that offensive.
Yeah.
Boys and girls. That's just not an appropriate thing to call a young lady. Sorry. Maddie?
Well, I think we should also kind of include the next part of, like I'm not sure if it was a question or kind of a comment to this. I'm not sure how it relates, but it's definitely, like, connected about, I mean, should I read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So Sapphire said, this is very important. I had a teacher in grade 7 who made inappropriate jokes and humiliated me in front of a class because I had a book about a girl who married a centaur. He made jokes about centaur sex, and it made me cry in class while everyone laughed. He said it was he said it as if I was the only one thinking these bad things. I cried at home for so long. My parents found out, and he got fired last year. My friend just texted me and told me he got arrested. He was sexually harassing preteen girls in a public swimming pool. If you ever feel like someone you know is acting like this inappropriately and no one believes you, don't give up. It all started because my parents told the principal when I didn't want to be a tattletale. Then the other kid stood up to him. If I hadn't said anything, he would have gotten away. If you ever have any doubts, tell someone. So this is kind of like a story about what happened when she reported it, which I think turned out rather well. I mean,
and she's still, and I truncated this, she's still really traumatized by that, and it was very humiliating and embarrassing. The teacher was implying that she was having sexual fantasies about a centaur, and she can't even hear the word centaur without getting that feeling in her stomach, that just makes her feel like, oh gosh, that happened, and it's traumatic. And when young people are discovering themselves sexually, you don't want to be singled out, and you don't want to be made a target of some stupid joke that adults would tell. But these are children. Jeff, your hand was up?
Yes. I know it might be hard to believe that I was picked on because I'm so masculine and intense looking.
Yes.
That someone would pick on me. But when I was a kid, growing up, teachers would humiliate me all the time.
Why?
I was a rambunctious child, but I remember even into college that they would, like, ridicule me for asking questions that they felt was stupid. And it really hurt my feelings. I'm a very sensitive guy, and it would hurt my feelings. And I want to let you guys know out there that young people have a voice. And if you feel somebody is harassing you, be it a teacher, you should stand up for yourself and bring it to the attention of maybe somebody who's a supervisor above.
That's really good, because Sapphire was saying that at first she didn't even tell her parents. They found out because, like I said, it's a classroom. Other people heard it. And her parents ultimately found out, but she didn't want to be the tattletale. So you're not tattling when you're telling about something that happened that was abusive. That is not tattling. That is defending yourself. Children deserve a voice. Go ahead, Montana.
Sort of on the whole defending yourself thing, a lot of times what happens is children will be mistreated or abused, and because they're kids and because they're generally raised to be polite, the adult who's doing this to them will be like, don't tell, and then they won't because they feel like it's their fault and the adult is in the right because the adult has more authority over them. Mm-hmm. But that's completely false.
What's hard?
What was I saying?
What you're trying to depict is that children do not have the big picture.
Yeah.
They have the immediate picture that you only have when you're down here. You can't see that, oh, this in retrospect is ridiculous for an adult to be speaking this way to a little child, because you're just the little child, so this person must know more than me because they're up here and I'm down here.
And I was gonna go into the story about Mad Men that it happened, like
with
the
Sally?
robber and Sally, who's like, "I'm your grandma,"
Yeah.
and she's like, "No, you're not. You're black." But anyway, watch Mad Men. All y'all watch Mad Men.
It's a plug for Mad Men.
This
Plug for
whole
Mad
show
Men.
is just a big plug for
Yeah,
Mad Men.
that's-
Such a good
Go
show.
ahead,
but,
Keel.
sorry.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you guys are saying. I think that there's, like, if you're in doubt, you should definitely talk to, like, someone in authority or your parents or somebody. The reason that I, like, I try and push it away from going straight to that is because sometimes you just mess up, or, like, adults slip, or they just don't understand. They don't see, because they're in their whole adult world, they don't see that this is, like, a big issue for a kid.
But I don't know that that person should be responsible for a big classroom autonomously if those are his judgment calls.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but for S.R. Buckley, it's talking about it being a one-time thing, so I don't know if it's something to say about his character, like, this is something that would happen a lot, because she did say that he's normally a cool teacher.
Right, but if I were the principal, I would want to know that he said that, and I would want to pull him into the office and say, all right, you need to understand something. These are children who are trying to figure out what sexuality is, how their bodies are changing, what their feelings mean, how to treat yourself and others with respect. And you just said the world's most disrespectful thing that you can say to a woman, Jeff.
Yeah.
And they're also trying to figure out why people aren't texting them back.
Yeah.
Because of the,
Yeah.
the day and age we live in, that
Of
happens.
course.
When I was younger, we didn't have text messaging, but now it's like, I texted her. Why isn't she texting me back?
Yeah.
That's a serious. And why aren't they liking my Instagram pictures?
Right.
What is this about?
You need immediate feedback, or you feel like you're a failure in life. Like then you go on Instagram and see that other people's pictures are getting likes and yours aren't, and it's like it goes on all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like, am I enough? Am I ever going to be enough? Nico.
About this guy. This guy got fired for what? Was it related to this? Or?
No, it was not related to this, but he was harassing preteen kids. There was another scene in Sapphire's email where
Got
he was having
arrested
kids.
because he was sexually assaulting someone in a swimming pool.
Yeah,
He was a
but
preteen.
there was
he-
another scene.
He got fired before that, though.
He got fired. When he was still working at her school, he had a bunch of girls around him, and they were all doing cartwheels. He was having a bunch of girls do cartwheels. There was lots of red flags.
That's
when you
disgusting.
have anything like this, and what people really don't understand nowadays is that you can say something at the very least. If you feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form about anything an adult says to you, you should be telling your parents. And I don't even know why I have to say that. It seems just so natural to me, but it seems like the tattletaling idea just goes a little far with that sometimes.
And just any time of life, really. I mean, this is school and your kids, and that's a teacher. But I can tell you that when I was a fully grown adult, I was walking down the hallway of my place of business, and I walked past the reception desk, and one of the employees, a man, was sitting in the receptionist's chair behind her while she sat there trying to answer phones. I took one look at that, kept walking right down the hall to one of my partner's offices, walked in, and said, we need to do something about that guy. Because she had no choice. That was where she worked. And there was a man sitting behind her in the same chair. And I did not stop and pass. I did not pass go. I mean, I immediately went and reported it, because that's sexual harassment. That's the definition of sexual harassment. You can't do that in the workplace, Montana.
Was it not an option for her to be like, get out of my chair?
Maybe, but since he was a superior, it's awkward. She's a receptionist.
This is just like
That's
Mad Men.
Yes.
I know. Like with Peggy and
Yes,
Ethan.
Peggy, yes. Maddie?
Sorry.
I think the point is to report it no matter what it is. You can decide whether you want to be the person who is, like, known of reporting it or
I didn't
anonymously.
care.
Either way, I think just the point is report it.
And it
That's
doesn't even matter if she's mildly flattered by it or whatever. It's just wildly inappropriate to sit in the same chair as a person. And the reception area, everyone walks by and sees it. This is crazy.
If you do feel like you're awkward for reporting like everything you hear, at the very least, you should be telling your parents.
Yeah, tell your parents. And if you hopefully have a good relationship with your parents. Like, your parents will, ooh, you're right. That is enormously bad. Thank you for telling me. I'm going to call the office tomorrow morning. Kyo.
Yeah. I don't want everyone to think that it's too easy of a thing, though, because the way we're talking about it makes it seem like you can easily report, like, just like that. But within society, like, there are pressures that are stopping you. There's a lot of names like tattletale, snitch, the rat. Like, there's
Especially
a lot
if
of
it's
things.
a popular teacher.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that will make you feel like you shouldn't or something. But if you feel like you should, you definitely should do something about it and don't feel bad. Like, don't feel like you're doing something wrong.
Well, I think that in Sapphire's letter, what she's saying is, like, this is what happened to me. He made a joke about centaur sex, and then, like, a year later, I find out he is being arrested. And I should have trusted my spidey sense that something was wrong with this guy. All right, we're going to move on to the next question. It is Bull is in the Bronx. Give us a call if you would like to weigh in with your viewpoint. We are at 888-531-7171. This is Our Place Out Loud. I am Louise Palanker, your lovely and captivating host. Bull is in the Bronx writes, help, ... please. Okay, so I just got a text from my super close guy friend saying, so I guess we can't talk anymore. And I asked him why. He said, my parents say I'm feeding off of you, and you are feeding off of my depression. So we can't talk. It's not because I don't want to, because they are... curse words. I honestly like him. We're that really close type. We're always there to make each other happy, and his parents took him away. How do I deal with this? He really means a lot to me. I can't lose him. I just can't not him. So to me, what's happening here is that the parents are finding out that their kid is depressed and saying, it couldn't possibly be anything we did. It must be his friends. And therefore taking away the one thing that is meaningful to him, that is maybe soothing and helpful. I mean, maybe her depression is eating his depression and they're like being depressed together and it's a big depression club. I don't know. But I don't think that the first move should be necessarily removing a close friendship when you find out that your son is depressed. Well, how do you guys feel? Maddie?
I think that, I mean, like, if it were me in this situation, I think that I would talk to his parents. I know how, like, that could seem over dramatic, but, like, I think if you talk to them in an honest, like, I am a kid and, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm without my best friend now. Like, you know, like, if I was, you know, if one of my friends was just like, yeah, no, my parents don't want me to talk to you anymore, so, yeah, we can't, I would be like, oh no. And then I don't know if I'd go over to their house. That's a little bit too assertive. But, like, you could call them on the phone and just be like, you know, hey, I wanted to talk to you guys because, you know, I'm really missing, you know, seeing, you know, whatever, Bob. And I, you know, I don't really understand what happened and I really miss him. Is there something that I should know? Just because, you know, I mean, like, I'm not like blaming, obviously. Like, if you call and be like, how could you do this? How dare you? It's like, you know, they're the parents. They do have the authority to do that, whether it's right or wrong. But it's, you know, I think if it were me, I would talk to his parents and just be like, I don't know what happened because we were so close and I'm confused. And he won't answer my text, so I just want to make sure he's okay and everything. Montana.
You're right. It's important to talk to the parents first, but what I'm concerned about is it's the problem with this whole thing is that the parents are being rather petty and closed-minded about this. And the problem with trying to rationalize with these kinds of people is that they can't be rationed with because they obviously don't really completely understand what's going on and what is rational, because if they really like looked into his depression and stuff, they would see well, I mean, not necessarily their fault, but like they should look introspectively too, not just be like, oh, it's your friend and it's everything that makes you happy, let's just take that away. And I'm in sort of a similar situation, and it's hard, but I don't think my way of dealing with it is the best. Ideally, you should be able to work something out, but yeah.
Yes, we don't know the whole story here.
Yeah.
We only know about 8 lines of what's happening here. I can tell you from my experience that I wish that I would have listened to the input that my parents gave me when I was younger, because they have wisdom through experience to know who is a good person for their children to be spending time with, and who is like steering them down a bad road. You know, and I didn't heed that warning from my parents, which took me through 5 years of what I had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we all learn at different rates, but it's important to understand that in a perfect world, right? And usually a parent wants the best for their children, So that's something that the listener should take into account.
So are you saying, Jeff, that it's possible that this girl is a bad influence on her friend, and that his parents...
We don't know what the full story is,
Yeah.
but I would say that it's important to listen to the parents' input.
How about if the parents of both children spoke to each other and just said, okay, this is going on, and maybe he does need a break from her, and
Yeah.
if everyone got on the same page...
Yes, that I've actually that my parents and my parents' friends would talk, and I think that's actually really helpful for everybody to be on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All
right, let's take the caller. Who's there? Hello, Gabriel.
Hi, this is Gabriel.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for calling our place.
Thanks. I just wanted to weigh in on the whole situation about the depression, and kind of having been there, I feel like my parents didn't discourage me from talking to my friend, but I also questioned whether it was better for me to talk to my friend about situations, or whether, because she was also going through a situation of depression, or whether we should just kind of deal with things on our own. And I realized that, like, us helping each other out tends to be, that makes you be validated more, I guess, and makes you feel like you have a purpose.
Okay.
And sometimes that's really, what you need. And so I think talking to his parents is a good thing, but I also think maybe explaining to him how this friendship is beneficial and having him talk to his parents might be another way of approaching that.
All right, that's very insightful. So you don't think that you and your friend would just sort of feed on each other's depression and say, oh, yeah, you should really be depressed now, or was it like a soft place to fall and be heard and be unconditionally loved?
I think it was a soft place to fall because I think we both had different issues, and so you can't really feed off of the same issue, but you can definitely be there to be a supportive person and be able to help them with their issues and feel like you're making a difference.
So taking this friendship away may be like the worst possible thing that they could do to him.
Exactly.
All right, hold on 1 second. Keo wants to say something to you.
Yeah, thank you for calling, first of all. It's nice that you give your input and that you have, you're sharing that personal story with us. I think that it's really hard to say. It's hard to say because nobody really knows what's gonna, like, make things better. Nobody knows for sure what's gonna be better for, like, either of these kids. I think it's a good idea to get both parents involved, and if I don't think that if you as a child go and talk to these parents, they're gonna really listen to you. I mean, they're gonna be like, oh, you're a little kid.
They might decide too, like, if you dress goth and that if you look from the outside as being someone who's depressed or who's like stereotypically a depressed kid, that they might be like, she's the reason our son's depressed.
Right.
And they might not listen to you yet. And
they might just dismiss you based on your age, like just by your age and nothing else. And I think it would be, I think there should be a therapist involved in some way. I don't know if there is or not. And I think that it might be healthy. Maybe it's a good idea. I don't know, to have some kind of group therapy with the two kids and see what they're like, see what the therapist thinks about them being with each other and how it works.
That's good. We're going to let you jump off the phone, Gabriel. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Really means a lot. We are at 88. You're welcome. We are at 888-531-7171. Maddie, you wanted to weigh in?
Yeah. What you were saying about how the parents might dismiss, her just by her age. I think, I could be wrong. This is, I'm asking the adults in the room. But, if a kid came up to you, any kid, at any age old enough to be articulate, came up to you and said, I really respect you as a parent, as an adult, as someone who is, wiser than me, and I would like to talk to you about something that's really concerning me. Would you be able to take that child seriously?
Well, I certainly would, because my life is talking to kids.
But most the general adult.
Well, the general adult who's in a state of panic over their depressed child, who may be suicidal, may be cutting, may be having other behaviors that are very terrifying to the parent, the parent wanting to blame everybody but themselves, I don't know that they're going to listen to that child. They may listen to that child's parents. That may be the better way to go, is to just have the parents have a meeting. What's the best course of action for both of our children? We both love our children. We all of us love our children. Sometimes there's 6 or 7 or 8 parents involved because there's step parents, and these families can be complicated. Go ahead, Jeff.
You know what? And that might be the actual best solution. A lot of times, parents and children don't want to actually confront what's happening, what is the cause behind the depression or behind the negative habits, and so both the parent and the child distract themselves from it, or they don't confront it, and especially with texting and phones and internet and children growing up so quickly these days, it's hard for parents to actually sit and talk with their kids and find out what the problem is, Yeah. And it's not considered cool.
Right.
So, and then kids rebel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the answer here is for these 2 sets of kids to talk with the parents
I
about
agree.
what's happening.
All right, we're going to move to Thread Theater, and we're going to come back to the question from BT, and because Jenny had a really good answer to that, and I want to get to it. But let's do Thread Theater. It's good to do at the bottom of the hour. We're talking today about religion, and last week we had a question from Area 43. He or she wrote, "Do you believe in God, heaven, and hell?" And we were going to talk about that. Last week we didn't get to it. And then this week I found a really interesting Thread Theater under debate. And we're going to just go around the room. I'll start with you, Montana, and you can be Tencha. And then I'm going to play the part of ex-goth. And then Yulia, our lovely social networking guru, is going to play the part of the peace sign, I guess is the screen name of that person. And then we'll just go around the room from there. So let's start with Montana. And our phone is ringing, but they're going to have to just hang on there and listen to Thread Theater because we're going curtain up on religion, inclusive or divisive. Take it away, Tencha 789, Montana.
What's your view on religion? Do you think it's beneficial, or does it drive people to do things they normally wouldn't?
Yulia? Peace sign?
Okay. In my opinion, I think anyone can be whatever religion they want. I think the only reason there are a lot of problems with religion is because people are racist. They discriminate and listen to what the media has to say about religion and not to what the religion is actually about.
Goth Ghost, I think it depends on the religion and how you express it. It is a bit stupid that people go to war because of it, and I hate it when people pull religion into debates. Like, if I were to debate about murder or gays or anything, I would get Christians coming in and saying stuff about, oh, well, the Bible says it's wrong, so it's wrong, blah, blah, blah. And it really frustrates me that they don't use their own brain and their own beliefs to express their own opinion. They always have to bring the Bible or something into it to support their belief, because they don't know why they believe that except for the fact that God says it's wrong, or because they are told what to believe. They are taught they are supposed to hate gays, so they grow up saying they do without any reason but the fact that it says so in the Bible. And like what the person above me said, people don't take the time to learn about a religion. They just listen to the media. When you think of a Satanist, you mostly think of people in cloaks surrounded by black candles and an inverted pentagram raping a woman and sacrificing her to our Lord Satan. No, we are against sacrifice. It is a Christian concept. We don't believe in Satan. We use Satan as a metaphor. We don't believe in rape and are against it, and are against killing anything unless it is for food. Then again, in the Bible, there is a verse that says you can rape a woman if you are married to her or if you pay her father. Also, it tells us to be against gays. I was forced to go to church, and they told me to hate homosexuals, and also they sacrificed animals to Jesus. Peace sign.
I agree with you completely, except that a lot of people convert out of their religion. I feel like once they get older, they don't feel the same way about their religion. They will convert. No one is holding them back, but I really liked how you explained how they always bring religion into everything, and that they don't just use their own their own knowledge. Sorry.
Jane Doe, Nico?
Somebody said that Christians are the one that sacrifice. Actually, Christians don't sacrifice. The Jews sacrifice animals. They weren't supposed to sacrifice people. So the animal could temporarily pay for their sins so their sins could be forgiven. Now, as Christians, Jesus was the perfect sacrifice because he, as completely innocent and willing as he was God. Since Jesus was our sacrifice, we don't need any more animal sacrifices. Also, I never have seen or heard of anything in the Bible that allows rape.
Yes, but Christians did sacrifice. You just said that. But in the past, sacrifice is a Christian concept. And if you Google verses about rape, there are some.
Princess Sarah 2014. Just because they use the Bible doesn't mean they aren't thinking for themselves. You could probably be a tad nicer with your comments. The Bible is the teachings that Christians follow and the basis on what they believe so naturally if it is a question of a moral issue. They are going to quote that just like you would quote facts in a science debate. There's nothing wrong with stating what you believe.
Princess Sarah? Q? Oh.
It's the same person.
Oh, sorry.
I would love to see the references to the verses about rape that you're talking about because Christians definitely do not support rape. Everyone just needs to calm down and stop slamming on Christians for 5 seconds. This is a site where everyone is supposed to be accepted for who they are, and you all are being kind of mean.
Well, what I was saying was instead of relying on the opinion and thoughts of the Bible, and I guess I don't bring religion into debates that aren't about religion, it turns it into a debate no one can win. I'm not trying to sound mean at all. I don't really know how it was, and if you could explain how I was being mean, I would appreciate it, because that wasn't supposed to sound mean. And scene. Okay.
Woodsy, I'd like to preface this really quick.
Yes.
My old football coach told me a really good proverb. Never argue with anyone over their religion or their political views.
That's also a really good dinner party motto, to never discuss religion or politics at a dinner party. It seems like they're the most interesting things to debate, and yet they can, because you're not gonna really change someone else's mind, but you might enlighten them. Like when the girl who's a Satanist was talking about what Satanists believe, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because I would have thought that being a Satanist, whenever I see kids in the app talking about being a Satanist, I'm always like kind of alarmed, because I know there's a lot of Christians and people who believe in God, and I would say to the kids that would claim to be Satanists, I would say, well, it sounds scary to us because we think that Satan equals evil, so please explain your religion. Jakey, you wanted to weigh in?
I have no idea if I have a camera. Supposedly I'm like right here behind Montana's back. Oh, my face! You can see it. Okay, are we turning it? Oh my god, we're turning it. No. Hi.
Hi, it's Jake.
About the
Now
whole
the camera's
bringing
blocking his face.
or using a Bible verse or something like that as your opinion. I think that only works if you were born in a community and then and the church is kind of chosen for you because you live next to it or something like that, and then that's just kind of your beliefs. Those are the kind of people that I don't think truly have chosen their religious beliefs. But if you, as an adult or as a sane person, go out and say, okay, this religion embodies the beliefs I want to have, right? And then you say, okay, then this is the religion I'm going to follow. And then you bring those into your debates. That's not hiding behind someone else's beliefs. That's showing a quantity of people who are like, oh, these people have the same beliefs as me. It's if you set your religion based on your beliefs, you are with a bunch of like-minded people. If you let your religion set your beliefs, that's a whole different, not-so-good story.
That's an interesting way of putting it, because I know that a lot of people will use the Bible to back up their belief just the way a lawyer would use up law precedent to back up their statement. But the difference between the Bible and the law is consistently shifting and keeping up with human beings as we move forward through time, and the Bible stays the Bible. So that would be where I would believe that you could use the Bible to support your views, but you shouldn't be completely dependent upon it because it hasn't been amended, like the Constitution or law or other things in life that continuously are amended. Jake?
Yeah, the Bible is kind of old. A lot of things are kind of old. It's kind of silly to use them continuously, but there's modern day Christians. About the whole rape topic, there's a ton in the Bible about rape, because like that's kind of most of what happened in the year like 2 or something, right?
It's way the original Bible, the Old Testament, is way before 2. It's like thousands of years before 2. When Moses
totally.
was like, he was back when let's see, the bushes burned and seas parted and other stuff went on, like, way pre-Jesus. Thousands of years pre-Jesus. The word two would be when Jesus was 2 years old. But yeah, they decided at some point this collection of stories is going to consist of the Old Testament, and then they decided this collection of stories is going to consist of the New Testament. And there's 2 testaments, And until Jesus comes back or some big thing happens, there won't be a third testament. So definitely there's a ton of wisdom in both testaments. And I would never, ever say for a moment that we didn't learn a lot from Jesus and everything that he had to say and had to offer. I'm just saying that if you don't question it at all, I don't think that that's what God wants. Like, I think God wants you to read it and then go, how does this make sense in my life? Nico.
The point about the Bible being super old and not amended is the church trying to say that they're trying to hold everyone to this level.
Mm-hmm.
They see the world shifting in some ways as everyone bringing down their standards. And in some ways that may be right, in some ways that may be wrong. But they just try to hold everyone to this golden rule, like Ten Commandments, the new tenets, all that good stuff. And
but some of it, like Jake said, some of the stuff in the Bible is really
outdated.
Well, yes, and abusive. So there are things about stoning people who plant the wrong crops, and Jake, go ahead.
There's
most of the really camera. Okay, most of the really old school Bible rules are about. We want there to be more Christians. Most of the stuff involving any kind of sex was just, we want more babies than there are more Christians. Because back in the day, lots of people died, so having lots of babies meant some of them would live. Most of the things like stoning somebody planted the wrong crops, right? Well, they wanted you to plant the right crops so you would live. Most of the old school rules were not like, this is something we believe and it is true and it's totally okay to rape someone and then marry them because that's how it works, right? They just wanted more people to live. Because back in the day, that was kind of science, was the dude in the sky told me to plant this thing and then I didn't die. Hey guys, we should plant this thing, right? And so that was their way to try and survive long enough. We're out of those days, we should adapt, but there's still some moral things that haven't changed, like stealing is wrong.
Yes, most of the Ten Commandments are really applicable, and they guide most laws of most countries. But things like don't spill your seed. Well, I think that we have plenty of people, and if you feel the urge to masturbate, you should masturbate. There may have been a reason for it at the time, like Jake said, because whatever you just did could have been used to make babies, and we need babies. Well, we have plenty of babies in China. They give them away to Americans. Go ahead,
Is it the child swap thing again?
Well, for one, I want to give props to Goth Ghost for kind of arguing well.
She's very articulate.
So, like, she didn't, because at a certain point where Princess Sarah said you're being kind of mean, some people would have been like, well, you're stupid, and then it would have
devolved and become ugly, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that are religious would have read that and thought, this is offensive to me, and I completely understand that, and I was reading it, and Teresa was in the doorway, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm offending Teresa, because what I'm saying is not very Christian, but I'll explain it to her after the show that I was quoting somebody else, because I'm already feeling self-conscious about it, because it was kind of language that would stir up a Christian, so I get it.
It's a tough thing to debate about, for one, because no human really knows. So it's like there's no answer, really.
We don't know why we're here on Earth. Jake?
Okay, sorry to keep stealing it, but this is a kind of question for everyone. Oh, do we have camera? We have camera. Yeah, okay.
You're good.
Okay, the original question was, do you believe in God, all these things? So I think we should quickly go around the room to show our own religious beliefs, to show that we're not just a bunch of the same exact belief.
Oh, okay.
That seem reasonable?
What about you, Jake? What are your religious beliefs?
I'd have to go with atheist, but if I picked one, Buddhism seems pretty cool. If you, stick to the early stuff, don't want things too bad, that kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. I think you can be another religion and still be Buddhist, they accept everybody. Yeah. Montana?
Well, technically, Buddhism isn't really a religion.
Oh, okay.
Buddhist people are like, this is a way of life.
Right.
And then outsider people are like, no, it's a cult. And then there's many varying degrees of things, as in is everything. But technically, I don't know, I was taken to church, but I'm more just spiritual, because I take the Bible and everything with a grain of salt. Most of the Christian teachings I agree with, the good ones, don't steal, don't murder, don't rape. That's all good stuff, but then they get into the weird stuff that was completely situational, and then they try to apply it today, and it doesn't work. And I'll tell you a story about that later. But Nico.
Well, I'm a good old-fashioned Christian boy, Love me some Jesus, all that stuff.
Yay!
I feel like the Bible has a lot of wisdom to it, and although some of the stuff was written for the time, Christians basically got a trump card with Jesus, and something that a lot of them forgot about recently: treat others as you want to be treated. Like his golden rule, it's basically his new commandment.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like don't stone people because you wouldn't want to be stoned. Don't rape because you wouldn't want to be raped. It basically covers everything, and it's a bit of a trump card, so, that's always fun.
Excellent. Maddie?
Well, technically I'm raised Jewish. Like, I had a bat mitzvah, the whole thing. But, I mean, I'm really more into, like, if, instead of actually saying, this is what I believe, this is my religion, I'd so much rather, like, whoever I meet and, says, like, oh, I'm Christian, I'm Muslim, I'd be like, please explain to me, about your religion. I want to learn about your religion. I'm not going to, like, start self-proclaiming mine, like, oh, yeah, I'm Jewish, and it's, it's better, or it's not, or it's the same, or whatever. Like, I just want to, like, know about what other people believe, not even what their religion is, what they believe as a person.
That's really
And if
interesting.
that happens to be in, like, if they believe in Christianity, or, like, you know what I mean, then I want to hear about it. Like, I don't really want to, like, talk about, the religion versus what you believe, because I think it's different.
I see. Very interesting. Kyo?
I've told someone my beliefs, and they said that it was, like, agnostic, so I haven't looked up the definition of that, but I'm guessing that I'm agnostic. I kind of don't say that there's not a God, but I don't say that there is. I don't know, and I'm fine with not knowing. And, I mean, to me, it doesn't even make a difference, really, because I'm going to act the same way, either way. And I think if there is a God, he'll be happy with the way that I'm acting. I'm doing the best that I can to do what I think is good. And if there's not a God, it's still a good thing to do.
Excellent. Jeff?
So I'm a Reformed Jew, which means that I'm Jewish. I have been to Israel. I have had a bar mitzvah, but there was a DJ at my bar mitzvah. It was not a kosher bar mitzvah. I do eat bacon. I do go to Denny's and enjoy a nice value slam. Thank you for laughing at my jokes, Louise. But I do draw from the religion spiritually, but I have a belief kind of like just an all grand, I guess, kind of like higher power, that watches over. It's not necessarily religious, but more spiritual.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We've got a phone call. Who's there? Mrs. Jordan Chris Colfer. Hello. Would you like to weigh in on the religious discussion?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's have it.
And you're on.
Well, religion kind of is a touchy topic because it's one of those things that everyone has a different belief. So it's kind of like people are going to get into it. It's just hard to explain.
And you're on.
All right. Well, you don't have to explain anything. Is there anything else that you wanted to say while you're on the phone with us?
There was a topic on the float up.
Okay.
It was the one about the friends with the grades and stuff.
This is you, Yulia. Come on over to the microphone. She's talking about the on the float up or on Instagram?
The float up.
Oh, okay. What did it say? Because maybe we haven't gotten to it yet. Which one was it?
Hold on. I gotta find it.
Oh, grades. Okay, so let me do it while you're here on the phone. Maddie writes, so out of me and my BFF, I do better in school. So one time on a French test, I got an A and she got a D, and I told her what I got, and she told everyone except me. So I asked her what she got, and she refused. So I persuaded her into telling me, and she screamed at me what she got, and now she's super mad at me, and I don't care what she gets. I'm just curious, and then there's a lot of exclamation points. Please help, and then a lot more exclamation points. So what did you want to say, Mrs. Colfer?
Well, my friends and I kind of do that, but there's a kind of a fun thing we do. We kind of give each other little rewards if we do well, kind of.
Yeah.
Or if we do better than the other. We also have a little joke, because if you've heard of the book The Separate Peace, maybe
Wait,
I don't know.
say that again?
A separate piece.
Oh, yes, a separate piece, yes. John Knowles.
Yeah, when what's his face is thinking while he's standing up there on the tree, counts the limbs because he kind of wants to see Finney kind of fail for one.
Yep.
But he knows that's a bad thing to think because that's his friend.
Yep.
So we kind of have a joke to do that sometimes.
Just
where
to
we're
shake,
like, counts the limb, counts the limb.
just to shake the branch.
Yeah.
But to have, no idea what the repercussions you're going to have to live with those for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, so the book kind of teaches you, like, you really need to think about when you're tempted to cause your friend to fail, because you will have to live with your own behavior. Maddie's hand is way up.
Well, I've been in a situation before, and I think that, it's totally fine if you want to share your grades with someone, but don't expect that just because, you shared your grades with them, it means that they're going to share their grades with you. Because I had a friend who was like, oh yeah, I got this really awesome grade on a test. What do you get? And I was like, I'm so happy for you, but I really don't feel comfortable discussing my grade. And they're like, oh no, come on, you aren't going to do that. And I'm just like, well, it's my paper, it's my grade.
I really think that
I can share it if I want to. And they're just like, oh no, come on, you aren't actually going to do that. And I'm like, you're actually getting mad at me for this.
No,
like,
you can ask once, and then you need to stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine to ask. Asking is not the issue. It's just asking again and again and being over persistent that's the issue. Keo.
Yeah, I think this goes with anything. If it's not that important to you and you're just curious and the other person doesn't want to tell you, then don't push it.
Drop it. Because that's what caused the falling out. Not you're asking once, but you're continuing to ask. Go ahead, Maddie.
This actually ties perfectly into the religious thing.
Okay.
Like, if you ask someone what's your religion and they don't want to tell you, don't ask again.
Yeah.
That's it.
With anything really in life. Thank you so much for calling, Mrs. Colfer. I wanted to get to one more thing because we're getting kind of tight on time. This question is from Bite. My mom has been lying to me about my real dad since I was little. Last year, my Nana told me the truth about my dad. I don't know what it is, and I'm getting nervous. I really want to know who it is, and I'm too scared to ask who my real dad is. What shall I do? I don't know the age of the kid, but it seems like you shouldn't lie to kids really ever. Like you should maybe say it too, like, oh, we'll talk about your daddy when you're a little bit older. So they always know something's up with it, but lying about the identity of a father is... At some point, when you tell the kid's going to be really devastated. Maddie?
Can I read Jenny's answer?
Yeah, because Jenny had a really good answer.
She did. Okay, before you go confronting your mom, I want you to first consider why she hasn't told you the truth. It's a very difficult situation to be in if, for whatever reason, you find yourself having a baby with someone who does not make a good father, or for whatever reason, they leave you while you're pregnant with a small child. If you were in that situation, what would you tell your child? There's not necessarily a right answer. So if your mom has so far done a good job of raising you, try not to be angry at her. If she didn't tell you the truth, it's probably because she wanted to protect you. Having said that, I do think you have the right to know who your dad is. Do I think you have a right to know who your dad is? Yes, you're getting older, and it's natural to want to know where you came from. Tell your mom what your nan told you calmly and take it from there. Try and make it a conversation, not a confrontation. And if you're too scared to tell her, write it down, ending with a "Can we talk about this?" and give it to her.
Really nice. Jenny is awesome. Nico?
I got a bit of a personal experience with this. My mom only told me about that I had a great grandma that was alive when she said she was going away for a few days for a funeral. So, I kind of missed the bus on that one.
Wow.
It was, and when I heard about that, I asked, why couldn't I know her? Why couldn't I get to know my great-grandma, probably one of the oldest people in my entire family? And one of the few responses I got was we're not allowed to curse, right?
Up to a point. Like, you can say, like, if she was... Yeah, no, you can curse.
This woman was a bitch.
Yeah.
She hurt my grandma emotionally and physically.
Wow.
And... my grandma's the sweetest woman in the world, and if I saw her, I'd probably just tell her off.
Right. So they were protecting you. When they're protecting the child, like, I get the motive, but...
But it would still have been nice to know that...
This woman didn't deserve to know you, Nico, is, what Howard's saying. Montana?
I mean, really quick, it still would be nice to know that...
That she existed.
Yeah, to at least have trusted me with that information, and that I would trust them that she was an evil woman.
Right. Right. That you would have understood the whole story. I think parents don't always get what kids would get. Montana?
Yeah, if Bate was to, if she's really curious about who her dad is, I think it's best to like talk to the mom first, and definitely not be angry at the mom, because in general, parents want what's best for their kids. They probably weren't doing this to be vindictive to the other parent, because let's just look at the facts. If the dad hasn't tried hard enough to the point where the kid knows about him, he probably doesn't care that much. And a lot of times when kids discover that their real father or parent doesn't really care about them, it really hurts them emotionally. So my advice would be to talk with your mom, talk about what happened, and maybe just leave it at that. I wouldn't go calling him unless you absolutely had to. Keo?
Yeah, I don't know. You can make the assumption that they don't care, but I don't know that I wouldn't take that assumption necessarily. There are other possibilities, other things that could have happened, but you definitely have a right to know. I think Jenny's answer was like perfect. She pretty much got it right on. You want to be able to understand what it's like to be your mom and understand how she feels, but at the same time, you do deserve to know.
Yeah, and you can start with saying, "I know, are you trying to protect me?" But I'm kind of old enough to know, like, genetically who makes up half of me, and if he's not a good dude, just tell me. I'll get it. Like what Nico was saying, I'll get that. Maddie?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say I love how Jenny said mum.
I love how Jenny says mum.
Love when British people say mum.
Yeah.
Second of all, I think that just like you said, she definitely hit it right on with everything she said, and I feel like if you kind of also tell your mom that you are so not gonna judge, like you just want to know, like it's curiosity. It's not I'm gonna judge what you're gonna say. It's I just want to know, and I promise to be really sensitive and understanding. And I believe we have
a phone call. Hello.
Dead the Undying.
Hello.
From Australia.
Oh, we have a call from Australia. Awesome.
It's Dead the Undying.
Right, from the land of the mums.
Hi.
Australia. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Did you want to ask a question, or did you want to weigh in on this topic?
Just wanted to weigh in on the topic.
Please do.
Do you know whether it's like, is there another sort of stepdad or dad like in the picture, or is it?
That is a really good question. I could not tell from reading it. It's one thing to just say, I don't know who your dad is, and it's another thing to say, this guy's your dad, when he's really not, because that can really feel like a betrayal. I mean, that's an excellent question. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, sort of, if there is sort of a stepdad or whatever in it, you sort of have to, well, how do you put it? It's like,
be sensitive to him, he's raised you.
Oh yeah, it's sort of. Would you like rather call the person who sort of got your mum pregnant, if that sort of makes sense, your
like
dad, or the person who raised you?
Yeah,
as like another person that's in the.
Yeah, we kind of use the term bio-dad.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, we kind of use the term bio-dad here in the States in terms of someone that just provided the sperm, but not really didn't really raise you and isn't the person, because it takes some. Anyone can be a father, but it takes a man to raise a child, and so you don't want to hurt the feelings of the person who's been raising you if that person is in the picture. That's an excellent point. There's a series on MTV now called Cryo Dad. Have you guys seen that? Where they go looking for their sperm donors, and because all the kids are like coming of age now that have had in the beginning of when sperm donating became possible. What else were you going to say, caller?
It's also sort of, if it is it that the dad just isn't in the picture anymore, and it's been. I think that's what I got from it. That it's like it's like if so the dad like isn't in the picture, and there's a new one. I'm guessing.
I don't know. All I know is that Nana spilled the truth. So now the kid has
Yeah.
information that her mom doesn't know she has. So I think the next thing is to say to mom, look, Manana said some stuff to me about my dad. Can we talk? And just leave it real open-ended and then let mom say the next thing. You know, rather than going on the attack, but just sort of saying, I now have this information and I need more information.
And maybe not tell where you got the information from necessarily.
Yeah, because that could start sort of like a family.
Yeah. Maybe say, I found this out somehow.
What if she says, who told you that?
Well, tell me this first, and then we can talk about that.
Yeah. It's you know, families are complicated nowadays. Thank you so much for calling from Australia. We really do appreciate your phone call. We will see you in the app.
Your accent is amazing,
Yes.
by the way.
Oh, and it's tomorrow there. So how's tomorrow going to be? Is tomorrow going to be okay? Because we're still in yesterday. It's Wednesday for you,
yeah.
right? Today's Wednesday, right?
Is it? Yeah.
It's
Just have to make sure.
yeah, because it's still Tuesday here. So you're our first caller from the future.
Yeah, I'm
And
so
it's
sad
summer.
though, because like next week's the last week, and then I go back to school.
Oh,
it's gonna be like 1 o'clock here, and I'll be at school while it's on.
But you're going to love it because you guys get to wear cool uniforms. I've been to Australia. Thank you so much for calling. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I love
Bye.
her voice. Isn't that... so we went a little bit over for our caller from Australia because she was calling from the future, so we needed to. So thank you so much. We are Our Place Out Loud, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.